Phil impersonating Arnold Schwarzenegger, impersonating Tina Turner was life. And he did it without waking up the kid. I'm looking at you, Mr. Wayne. I like it, Wilkes. That's fucking funny. So we got some input on the socials about
I saw that,
Port Charlotte more than anything.
And I figured as much.
Did this one get the DM?
No, there was a couple comments on this one.
Ooh. Curious what those would be.
Austin said that he said he enjoyed it and thought it was a very interesting expression.
Okay, and this, okay, that guy.
And there was one guy that was like, that is a single grain whiskey, not a scotch. I'm like, read the label. It's still a scotch. It's just a single grain scotch. Because guess what? It's produced in, I don't know, Scotland.
Yeah.
I mean, go to Scotland and say
more specific.
Yeah, in the Highlands of Scotland.
Yeah, go say that over there. That'll be fun.
I'm sure they'll call you a cunt.
Yeah. You can't.
You can't get out. Get out of my homeland. Scotch. What is it? Where does it come from? What does it even mean? Single grain, Scotch, all this noise. And what are we going to do with this guy? All this and more on this episode of Savor the Burn.
Whoopsie.
Anyway, welcome everyone to this episode of the Savor the Burn podcast. If you're not watching on YouTube, definitely thank you for following along on our, what are they called? Streaming service. I was like,
socials, streaming.
Yeah, follow the socials.
All the things.
Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok. We are there. What?
Just Twitter X. It'll never.
Right.
It'll
always be
it's
Twitter.
Always going to be Twitter.
It's always going to be Sandstone to me.
And every time it gets put into a news story, it's like, X, formerly known as Twitter. Mm-hmm. It's never going away.
It took them about an entire year to get everything migrated over because there for the longest they went live with it. They changed out all the logos, but the URL was still the same. Or you'd go into the app and it would still say tweet.
Yep.
Right.
They had Twitter and all the different variations on that ingrained in everything in the app, and it took them a while to change it over. And
low on the priority scale.
Mm-hmm. He just wanted to make a bold statement, Cotton.
Yeah.
So this episode, we're going to check out this Invergordon, single malt Scotch Highland single grain Scotch whiskey, not single malt. There is a difference.
Yeah, I as I was kind of preparing for this, well, first off, I'm excited because it's been a minute since we've had Scotch.
It has. We've been meaning to get back to it, and we just, I'm glad it's happening.
This is going to be a good one. But I recently, when the Whiskey Tribe, when Daniel kind of went his separate ways, everyone was kind of bummed about it. And I was like, man, the duo that we had kind of been following kind of went, what's going to come of it?
Yeah.
And so Daniel went off and he created his own channel called Whiskey Vault, where he primarily just does 15, 20-minute little snippets where it always starts with the logo, got some piano music playing, the lights come on to a barrel sitting in the room, and he walks in with a bottle of scotch or whatever, and he sits down, he introduces what it is, and then he nerds out on a specific topic. And
he's got a history
for like 15,
lesson.
20 minutes. Yeah, it's history about where this came from, why it's done this way, whatever. And so one of the episodes that I watched recently was entitled 5 Categories of Scotch. And he kind of just briefly talked about what those are and how to think about those. And I thought it was so interesting and well thought out. And I thought it applied very well because our first pour up tonight is a single grain Scotch whiskey. And
so corn or...
corn or wheat. But what I loved about how he described the 5 categories of Scotch was, if you think about it as mom and dad and their 3 kids. And so he described the mom as your single malt. And he also talked about, you see the term single malt, or in this case, single grain, a lot. And the misconception is everyone thinks, oh, it's just a single malt or single grain. And that's not the case. Single refers to it's one distillery. It's not multiple distilleries. So
There's
no blending.
That
it's
same
just
distinction
one.
here in the States too, don't we?
Yes, but it's a little bit
specific?
differently because over in the UK, they always put their descriptor before the actual noun.
Okay.
And so it's
Kind of like how when they write out
it gets confused.
the dates.
So
Drive on the wrong side of the road. What are you people thinking?
So the mom of Scotch, if you will, is single malt. So one malt, which is short for malted barley. It's always barley when when you're talking about malt. So you've got one distillery producing malted barley for this. The dad, the second primary Scotch would be single grain. And typically what that would be is, and I did not know this, but your grain whiskey
Is it wheat?
is usually always corn or wheat because those are cheaper grains than barley. This also came about right around the turn of the century, right around the late 1800s, 1900s, the Industrial Revolution, and the invention of the column still. And so your single grains are distilled in a column still versus your traditional pot still.
Can't zoom in.
Was there a QR code on that? I don't see it.
And then the 3 kids of Scotch are going to be your blended malt, your blended grain, and then just plain old blended Scotch, where you're blending your malt and your grain together. So
Is this the company that you sent me a little bit of info on, where they were taking apart some of the barrels and doing? No, not this one.
No, that was.
It's like doing a 50-50 between.
I'll think about that. And
whiskey staves.
That was someone else
staves.
completely.
Somebody completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, grain Scotch whiskey came about during the Industrial Revolution in the late 1800s, early 1900s, with the use of column stills, faster production, higher temperatures, and typically strips most of the flavor profiles out as a result. So what we've got here is 18-year-old single grain Highland whiskey from Invergordon, right? Invergordon?
Invergordon.
It's 18-year. It's single grain. Let's see if it says anything.
I mean, did you want to?
I wanted you to feel the sensation.
Very nice.
Sensation?
So Invergordon Single Grain Scotch Whiskey Distillery was founded in 1959 and started operation in 1961. The town is named after a locally Lord Sir William Gordon in the 18th century.
Lard?
Lord.
Oh,
Lard.
Lord. Sorry.
Lard.
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 Lard Lincoln.
L-A-I-R-D.
Lard.
Lard.
Lord Lincoln Silverado. You don't get it yet, but you will.
Ooh, whiskey.
Maybe we'll have
that
you,
we haven't had yet.
We'll have you post a picture of the grill on the new truck, and it looks like a Lincoln, and it's a Silverado.
It says, we'll list the whiskey itself as a hidden gem. Whilst the whiskey itself is a hidden gem, the town is one of Scotland's busiest cruise ship ports and affluent audiences of world travelers using the Cromarty Firth Harbor as a gateway to explore Loch Ness, Culloden, and some glorious Highland castles. The single grain Scotch whiskey has spent 18 years maturing in American white oak ex-bourbon casks, giving it a deliciously creamy character with a rich mouthfeel. Notes of creme brulee and demerara sugar, custard, crisp orchard fruit, and a hint of mango.
Hell yeah. I mean, that just sounds great.
You pull that info off the back of the bottle here?
I pulled that off their website.
I just read that down here. Did you, this single grain Scotch whiskey has spent 18 years, that part?
Yep, I said something along those lines.
Sorry. I was laughing about
Your Lincoln Silverado?
Lincoln Silverado
Enlarged Lincoln Silverado.
and while Wayne Wilkes was
I was trying to inform the listeners, dear listeners.
And I usually pay attention while you're talking, and I'm
sorry, what?
I just
So I'm already biased on this one. I've had it.
I can tell.
I've had it. I mean, this has just been one of those delightful little refreshments to have.
If nothing else tells the story of Scotch whiskey with just a Y versus U.S. whiskeys.
Oh, you know what? I misspelled that down here.
If nothing tells that story better than for this being an 18-year and that color is just a nice light straw.
It's like a champagne color.
Yeah, light straw. We had that with very early on with the peat monster.
An 18-year Kentucky bourbon is going to be like burnt umber, dark, rich, thick colors.
It's wild that it's so,
and for 18 years,
it's so light.
It's still just so light. And even on the nose, I mean, it has a really nice...
It's light, kind of crisp.
Yeah, light citrus. It's Highland, so it doesn't have the briny sea saltiness that you get in Islay Scotch.
Islay Scotch. We'll get to that because it's a funny way to spell it and a funny way to pronounce it if you're from the Midwest here in Kansas City.
I get a lot of just fruit. It's like there's just
like a fruit basket.
I get it. Yeah,
there's just a soft hint of vanilla.
I can see where they would say creme brulee. Creamy.
It's kind of creamy.
Yeah, it's definitely a kind of a white sugary.
I was going to ask about the sweetness on there. Yeah, it's not like caramel. It's not brown sugar.
But I think there's enough vanilla-ish sweetness to it that it becomes just slightly reminiscent that this was aged in ex-bourbon barrels.
Well, I mean, I thought it had
American
legs,
oak too. That's probably how it kept its lighter color.
But now it's like super dappled on the side.
Yeah.
What do they call that?
Dirty glass.
Dirty glass. No, I meant all the drops. It's not dirty. It's just my greasy fucking fingerprints.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can tell then that there's residual sweetness in it, of course.
There's some
and then the
little rivulets going on with those legs.
Yeah. I mean, that's sticky.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get it on the palate.
Cheers. It's just fucking delicious. Smooth.
Yeah.
Oh, that is very custardy.
Yeah.
The bourbon came through on that. So there's caramel on there. Are you picking up caramel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a vanilla custard with a little bit of a
vanilla's there,
caramel, and I can taste that.
You think it's vanilla custard, not just vanilla?
I think so, and the creme brulee that it talked about, I'm getting that torched sugar on top of that, just like we had as a treat last time you were over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, this makes me. I'm just going to be doing my happy dance, like
doing the happy dance.
It's like you have a long day. You don't want to like. You just pour yourself one of these. Take your time with it.
I was getting ready to say mangoes, and then I looked down here, and it actually says mango.
Does it say mango? Yeah.
Yeah, a hint of mango. Crisp orchard fruit and a hint of fruit of mango.
Yeah, so that fruit basket, the orchard fruit, just kind of comes through.
It says sweet cinnamon spice on the nose.
On the nose, no, but on the finish, I'm picking up cinnamon.
Yeah. Finish says apple pie, tropical fruit, cinnamon, and licorice.
And it's got heat, like leftover heat on it.
Yeah.
Like and smoke. There's a light smoke, or peat, whatever you want to call it. which is what I love about Highland Scotches.
Yeah.
They have it's lighter. It's more, I don't know, like your summer pour. You know, like you said, you get home from work, you just don't want to futz around with a bunch of stuff. I think I'll have a Scotch, and it's already too fucking hot. Mm-hmm. You know, I think I'll have a light Scotch.
I'm gonna go outside and sit in the humidity and drink it.
This is quite tasty.
Yeah.
What else are you getting on the finish?
Definitely start getting more of the apple.
I was going to say like dried fruit, but apple.
I don't know if I would go as far as apple pie.
No.
But yeah, a little bit of an apple.
I almost want to say green apple. Like just
yeah, green apple. Green apple is the apple.
The question I have is, do we think that this is corn or wheat?
I'm gonna say
wheat. I was gonna say I actually was thinking it might be a blend of corn and wheat.
If you're picking up corn, I would blame that on the bourbon barrel that it aged in. I'm just saying that because I'm not seeing that on the. I mean, you look at the top of this thing, and one of the things in the crosshairs there is wheat. I don't know what the rest of that is. I mean, a stack of cannonballs or grapes.
Like what is some that? Shotgun shells and barrels and a house.
A house on fire. How Kentucky Owl.
I don't know. Maybe because we got a truck on the front here. We got a house on the front here. We got some weird decoration that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, when single grain whiskey became a thing because of them distilling it in the column stills, it talked about going to that. They started using an alternative barley, which was corn or wheat, because it was way cheaper. Mm-hmm. And the column stills also allowed them to produce more of it faster.
And it made me burp.
What I like about the finish is that it's a long finish. Mm-hmm. So you're not.
It sits with you.
You don't want to just go back and get another sip to keep that flavor rolling.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have
rolling.
It doesn't have those medicinal qualities that some scotches do.
Band-aidy, medicinal. Yeah,
and it makes you kind of want to think that if you get a deep whiff off of it right before you try it, it makes you think like, oh, it's going to be Band-aidy. But no, you take a sip and like the first reaction is, did I actually just drink a scotch? Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't, and then the warmth just starts carrying through.
All right, so this does optionally come in a box. The box that you sent me, which was like kind of they expanded on the label.
Well, and a lot of
even though we don't have it in front of us, I will consider that as part of the bottle presentation.
Yeah. What's interesting is, and I think it holds true for a lot of different things, but I know that like the Writer's Tears, Irish whiskeys, all of those come in a box. But like if you go to Total Wine, you'll see a part of the shelf will have bottles only, and then you'll also have a portion of the shelf that'll have them in their box. Mm-hmm. Some people don't want the box.
They don't want the box.
Just give me the bottle so I can go.
Right.
And they're fine with that. I've also seen, a lot of the scotches come in tubes. Mm-hmm. The Port Charlotte 10-year comes in a tube if you want it, but most of the time it's just the bottle itself.
Mm. I like the tube. Like it's great for like gift giving.
Yeah.
It's easier to wrap a tube than it is a bottle.
Yeah.
Or I just stick a bow on the damn thing and hand it over.
Yeah, I was gonna say because then it's a little obvious.
Yeah.
Hey, I wrapped up this really shittily wrapped up this bottle for you. Mm-hmm. By all means, take the paper. Yeah, I like that. For gifting, a box or a tube would be preferable. I'll be curious to see because the last time you guys showed me that neat little trick about after you finish it, you just let it sit.
Shit.
And
the second nose.
And then get the second nose. Because even though I've drank this at home, I still don't do that. I keep forgetting, and then I got here and I was like, oh yeah, it's just so easy drinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
should be crying. That's how they get you. Next thing you know, you're just whiskeyed up all the time.
It also says on the nose here, sugar snaps.
Sugar snaps?
I don't know if I...
What is a sugar snap? Peas? Sugar snap peas?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't really get that.
Yeah, I don't know if I... Yeah, I don't know. I agreed with everything else. Toasted coconut on the palate with the custard and crisp orchard fruit and a hint of mango. Maybe.
Sugar snaps. I'm sorry, I was going to look up sugar snaps.
Yeah, sugar snaps is going to be
I know what ginger snaps are.
Second nose is becoming interesting.
It's a goddamn snap pea.
Good.
Okay. Shit. That is on the palate.
You think so?
Yeah, because I'll grow them like early spring. Because
you are the resident gardener here, so
yeah. If they're fresh off the plant, there is a bit of a green sugar kind of taste to them, and this has it. I did not notice that until just now.
All right. What'd you give it on the nose?
I gave it a 4 1/4.
I gave it a 4.
You gave it a 4 even?
4 even. I thought it was a great nose.
I thought it was a great nose too. I mean, we pulled 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4.5 different flavors, if you will, off of the nose, and that's usually my base for a 3, 5 or 4, whatever. And I was kind of wowed by it a little bit because I don't know, maybe it's because I haven't had a Scotch in so long. And
that could be.
I missed it, and if you find yourself enjoying Scotch, then you know what kind of Scotch it is that you enjoy. And so when I heard that we were going to have a Highland Scotch, I was pretty fucking jazzed. Because remember, the first Highland Scotch we had was at Highland Park 12, Viking Honor, and we made
so good.
Good.
That was the Scotch sour that we made.
And we made the sour, the Scotch sour with it, and I was like, holy fuck! Is there an echo in here?
What? What? Hello. What was the division by after you added
by
up?
2.
By 2?
By 2.
Oh, God bless it.
So that's why I gave it a 4 1/4. I was happy with it, and when I'm happy, everybody's fucking happy. How about you, Phil-Mageddon?
Well, so for the nose, I gave it a 4.25. For the palate, 4.5.
We're not there yet, but I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, I just wanted to get the party started.
He's kicking off the palate.
Yeah. I was kicking off the palate. What did you think of the palate?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I gave it a 4 1/4.
Girl, same.
Give it a 4 1/4. Why did you give it a 4 1/4?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it's just it was nice and refreshing. It had, I love that vanilla custardy flavor on the palate.
We pull that off of bourbons from time to time. Rarely like straight whiskeys, but this
to
Scotch
me, the hint of
had.
mango is kind of what took it to another level. Because you don't get that on ever.
Yeah. Well, and that's why
that's a very unique thing.
And that's why I've got it at a 4.5. I mean, there's just nothing. I haven't had really anything quite like that, and so
it makes me wonder if those attributes are a result of the 18-year. Because I also noticed looking them up online, they have a 14-year version, and I think they have a 21. So it's 14,
21,
18,
yes.
and a 21.
Yep, there's a 21.
It's wild that they go from 4 to 18 to 21.
Yeah.
No.
Huh. No middle ground there between 4 and...
Arbitrary numbers, man.
Yeah.
Well, and like the Redbreast Irish Whiskey, their entry level is a 12-year. Apparently, their entry level is a 14.
And they're probably like Michter's in that regard. They when it's ready, it's ready.
Yeah.
And for them, in their region of the world, and their microclimates, all the things right there in the Highlands of Scotland, they know that a 4-year is a great beginner.
Yeah.
But after that, you really don't notice much of a difference until you hit 18.
Or 14? Was it 14?
I thought it was 4, 18, and 21.
No, it was 14, 18.
Oh, 14, 18, 20. I thought you said 4, 18, and 20.
14, 18, 21.
Whiskey.
So I'm a musician, much like these other guys. And I don't really use my earbuds or my earplugs, whatever, a lot.
What?
No.
Oh, God.
Right. So, yeah, I don't always hear so good, but I really shouldn't have an excuse because it's this ear, which is why I like sitting over here. This ear is the one that's kind of half fried.
I got this one.
Yeah?
My left ear's bummed.
Yeah, but this wasn't just music, it's funny cars. You ever watch NHRA? Drag racing?
I don't really watch it, but
I've seen it.
Okay. Well, you guys are familiar with John Force.
I grew up around all that,
No?
so
John Force?
yes.
Okay. Well, it was about 90, I think, 1990, 91, something like that. Summer Nationals down here in KCIR. It's a local racetrack that used to be here. And now it's like a fucking park. Anyway.
Oh.
It's a tragedy. Anyway, so when I was kids, so was John Force's daughters. And I had a liking to the older one. And when they would come to town, she and I, we'd, run around the pits and, talk to different drivers and mechanics and stuff and hang out. Well, one day, I think, must have been, John's lead mechanic guy up there, acting like he's tuning the carburetors and, notices that I'm just kind of over there talking her up and then, wah, he hits it.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And it's never quite been the same.
Yeah.
So whatever your name is, sir, fuck you.
Yeah, that's a dick move. That's a dick move.
We were just friends. It's not like we're going to have late night romance.
What were you doing down there without hearing protection anyway?
A child of the 80s.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
We don't know much about safety. We weren't really concerned.
Fair enough.
We didn't wear
We drank from
helmets.
garden hoses.
I mean, I do remember going. So when I was growing up, we went to a lot of air shows.
Yes.
And they would always
up at
have
Richards Cabower?
and they would always have like the Blue Angels, and you know how they do that buzz by stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're just a little kid running around, and that if you're not doing this,
Right.
it's gonna hurt. Mm-hmm. But
And then, like, way back off in the distance, you'll hear that sonic boom. Mm-hmm. Like, what was that? That was awesome.
Dude,
and then they come flying over your head.
Everything is awesome.
those things can be terrifying. Me and my brother were sitting at home watching freaking cartoons and shit, and all of a sudden there was a sonic. We figured it out later, but there was a sonic boom that rang out overhead, and the entire house was shaking. You would have thought that there was like a clap of thunder, but no, it was a boom. And then, yeah, it was startling to say the least. You could hear the dishes in the other room rattling in the shelves. Bad news, bears.
Good times. Bad
Yeah.
news. Yeah, speaking of bad news, we'll get to that later. Talking about drinking from gardening hoses. Mm-hmm.
How about
Finish.
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 What'd you give it?
Thought we were talking about scotch.
I was like,
Finish.
It's a joke.
It's a finish joke.
Finish.
I get the finish 4.5.
Dude, we all gave it. We all gave the finish.
My bad. I get it 4.25.
You silly lint liquor. 4.25?
4.25.
All right, well,
I'm fired.
That was close. Close enough.
Phil and I, we both gave it a 4.5.
Finish.
You weren't as jazzed by it as we were. I liked it because
great.
it was long, it was sweet. There were hints of the green apple, the dried fruit, the light smoke, the cinnamon. I'm a fan of cinnamon. It reminds me of fall drinking this. Mm-hmm. Hot summer nights and fall.
Hot summer nights and fall. I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. I actually appreciate how this doesn't just feel like you're drinking fuel alcohol. It's like it gives you a nice warming, but it doesn't linger too long.
It gives a good experience.
Yeah. It's like you could take a sip of that, set it down, walk away for 5 minutes, and within the first 30 seconds, you're cooling off already. So
There's no burn on the nose. There's no burn on the palate. It's just
easy drinker.
easy drinking.
There's a slight sizzle on the finish, but that's a Scotch thing.
Right.
How about your final score? What was that?
Well, how about presentation?
Fuck, why did I skip presentation? Especially when I gave it a 4.75.
Oh, I gave it 4.5.
4.5?
I was at 4.25, but that's maybe because I don't appreciate the fine arts of presentation.
Well, with this one here, the second he sent me the label, the online snap pic or whatever of the bottle, I thought that looks like something that Flavier came up with.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with their art?
Yeah. The artwork's great.
It's like just that or the Technical Ecstasy album cover.
It's
Black Sabbath.
It's just why you gotta put a damn QR code on the back. Like, just
have you tried it?
Yeah, it just goes to their website. It's like, come on, man.
Oh.
I mean, you already know what you're getting into. It's just, And then there's, some air pockets under the label and stuff like that. Now, what I do really appreciate is that
the natural cork stopper.
Natural cork,
Tight
and
cork.
it's got the wood topper.
It's like an unfinished
And
maple.
and it's just satisfying.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I mean, that's just the kind of,
that squeak.
that's just what you want to hear.
That could be nails on a chalkboard to some people, but to us, we like it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful noise unless you're trying to sneak a drink without your wife knowing. Hey. Just kidding. Don't do that.
It's for the podcast.
It's for the podcast, baby. It's for the podcast. Damn it. You didn't hear that. We got mice.
Got nice. What'd you say, little mousey?
Hey, here, you can have some too.
I found him. Don't worry, baby. He's out of the house now. You just hear this random. Like, you talking to your ass, honey?
Meanwhile, she's in the other room just rolling her eyes. How about your final score, W2?
8.5. 8.5.
How about you, Mr. Phil?
8.25.
8.25 is not a bad score at
Not
all.
a bad score. It is one of my favorites, but judging it on its merits, that's where I land.
And mine was 8.875, so 8 7/8.
Very nice.
And probably because it's a pricier bottle, but I think it's worth it. I just wish it was a little bit cheaper. But it is.
What's MSRP on this thing?
This was 110 or 15. I have to double check.
Oh, that's
110 plus or
the
minus.
18-year coming into play.
Yeah. I'd have to check my receipts, and I don't have them.
Yeah, you get up anything over 10 year, anything over 12 year, and yeah, you start kind of paying for the little bit extra.
Yeah, and what I will
Time
say is,
fits.
if you go to the Total Wine and Spirits in Missouri, which is where I came across this, they had, the reason we came across this was because they were having a taster. They were like, "Hey, would you like to try
okay.
some of these?" And he goes, "The whiskey dude likes this one," and I was like, "Okay, I'll try that." And I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of those. And I've been digging on it quite a bit.
Very nice.
So I have a light tasting whiskey, easy to drink, and a mighty fine representation of what the Highlands of Scotland Scotch has to offer.
I like it.
Yeah,
Thanks for bringing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely. Mm-hmm. We forgot to do our second.
Oh yeah,
note.
what's second notes? What are you picking up?
Second nose is quite a bit lighter than
Yeah.
what we get on a lot of them.
I'm getting a lot more of that creme brulee vanilla.
I'm getting
Yep.
light corn. The cereal
told you
grain
it's
is
there.
off.
Confectionery sugar.
A cereal grain, if anything,
Like
it'd be
powdered sugar.
It'd
Yeah.
be like wheat.
If you've ever snorted powdered sugar, that's kind of...
Yeah, the boogers are delightful the next day. You get it. Yeah, when you're an 8-year-old and you hear the word booger sugar, you make bad decisions. Especially if you're
now.
growing up in Sugar Creek.
Oh, Jesus.
Where?
Jeebus?
Jesus.
Jeebus.
Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Jeebus, Chris.
So thank you for watching this episode and or listening to this episode of the Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan. There's Wizard Fingers Wilkes over there. And don't forget, check out what Phil-Mageddon has to offer in the description in the video below or on any of the socials.
Yeah.
We'll tag him. We'll tag his stuff. Thank you for following. Thank you for watching. No matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, what you're drinking, never forget, keep on burning.
Burning.